We have sand, sea, sun, sort of. Are we in Spain? Are we in France? Are we in Greece? No, we're in the British seaside in Newquay in Cornwall.
So you see, who needs Spain when you got this? Well, I guess I do need Spain. I still need Spain. So this is going to be our home for the next 2 days, and here is our view.
We were famished from all the unpacking and walking around, so we decided to get an iconic Cornish treat for lunch. The Cornish pasty is a symbol of Cornwall and is deeply intertwined with Cornish history. Though the pasty is strongly associated with Cornwall, the origins of it remains unclear. We do know, however, that the word pasty is derived from Middle French and has appeared in many French cookbooks and recipes since the 14th century. In the 17th and 18th centuries, pasties grew in popularity among the working people in Cornwall. At the time, tin mining was a huge industry in Cornwall, and the pasty was adopted by every tin miner's wife as a receptacle through which to serve a complete meal, mostly the contents of a heavy stew, which is why you'll find beef, potato, and sweet within a traditional Cornish pasty. Except for Julia's pasty, of course. That's a vegan pasty. A pasty that the tin miners would probably frown upon. The dense pastry was designed to keep the pasty's contents warm until lunchtime, when the miners would hold their metal boxes which contained their lunch over a shovel and candle to heat it up. The pasty's thick crimped side is not there solely for aesthetic purposes. The miners use this as a handle whilst eating the pasty, ensuring that their fingers, covered in dirt and possibly arsenic, did not touch their food or their mouths.
Cornish pasty and seaweed. So I've got this vegan fudge. It's soy latte vanilla. It was $3.99, and I got myself this candy for $1.99.
And look at the candy that Julia got.
It says
may have an adverse effect on activity and attention in children. Might be healthy then.
Shopping for sweets made us very thirsty, so off we went to find a local brewery.
So we are at Lost Brewing Co. and I got myself an Orca Stout. It smells very malty. Very nice and rich. Has coffee notes and slightly reminds me of Guinness, but not as rich as Guinness.
Cheers, it is then. It reminds me of drinking a black coffee, an Americano, but a really malty Americano. It's sort of like a cross between, what's that malty Lithuanian drink?
Gira?
Gira. It reminds me of Gira crossed with an Americano.
All that beer made us hungry. It's time to get something to eat. It's time for a British seaside staple.
Chips by the British Seaside. So we're just wrapping up the day. We're having rum at the hotel. And hopefully we get to go surfing tomorrow, weather permitting or Thor willing. So I'll see you tomorrow. Cheers.
Good morning and welcome to day 2.
So we are having our morning coffee and today we're going surfing. Quite worried about this one because I had an ankle injury a few weeks before the trip, so trying to surf on one ankle doesn't sound like a good prospect, but we'll see what happens. Cheers.
Before lunch, we decided to stop by Newquay's parish church, the parish church of St. Michael the Archangel.
So we found this really cool looking trendy place called the Poncho Lounge, and we're about to have brunch before we go out surfing.
And we have these vegan menus as well as gluten-free.
We'll tell you how the food is and we'll get back to you later.
The best part for me is falafels. They are very nice and crispy outside and has a really nice flavor. There's something about it not going very well together, I would say. Like, I'm not exactly sure what the green stuff does on English breakfast. So, it's something not bad. It's quite nicely done in a healthy way, but wouldn't be my top choice.
On the other hand, my buttermilk chicken is fantastic. It even comes with chipotle mayo and some really good chips.
Time for a little detour before we go surfing.
We decided to stop by the Blue Reef Aquarium here in Newquay to look at some sea life before we surf. So let's have a look at some fishes. They're alive! Quite scared that the piranhas are after me after I fished them in Brazil. They're out for revenge. Just having a staring contest with this guy.
And here's Yulia losing it over a sea turtle. This is Omeros, Blue Reef's resident loggerhead turtle. He was rescued in Greece with damage to his eyes, meaning he's blind and he couldn't be released. He's now about 35 years old and weighs about 100 kilograms. Enough with the sea life. The waves are looking good. It's time to surf.
So we're about to go surfing. The only problem is we know nothing about surfing. So we've come here to Escape Surf School to learn more about surfing. So let's go. Surf's up, I guess.
Warning. This video contains two idiots who just wanted to try surfing for a day. This is not a video of successful surfing. Be prepared to witness plenty of failures and be ready to watch two idiots who can barely stand on the board. If it is great or even decent surfing that you desire to see, then we do strongly suggest that you switch over to a different YouTube video. One of the World Surf League perhaps. This is Fistral Beach, the home of British surfing and one of the world's top surfing destinations. It's the venue for some of the world's best surfing competitions, so this location is completely incongruous to our surfing abilities.
Got on the board.
That's a good start.
Wipeout as expected.
The first of many wipeouts. But we keep on persisting. Wipeout.
We really found some jellyfish that we're holding in our hands. Shit, we still have the jellyfish. Oh, yeah, I guessed it, huh? Now put it in liquid. Oh, he's done that.
I'm on the board, and that lasted for about a second. And wipeout. With both our dignity and self-esteem in the bin, we decided to trade in our surfboards for some nice cold drinks.
But at this point, after surfing, anything's good. So we've just finished a day of surfing.
And let me tell you, it's hard.
It is hard, a proper workout.
So hard.
Yeah. But did you enjoy it though?
I did, but I just want to sleep right now, that's all.
Yeah. Those few times, there were very few successes, or successful. There were very few successful surfs. Is that the terminology? I'm not quite sure. But when you do get that successful run, it does feel very exhilarating.
Yeah, it feels amazing when you can do it, but if to just stand up on the board, it's extra hard. It's a lot of practice. And it's a proper exercise.
I guess like everything's that's a skill. Just takes a lot of training and practice.
And we were so hungry after that.
You're very hungry.
God.
I think for me it was difficult to, apart from the standing up bit. I guess like the footage isn't great because not a lot of successful surfs in the footage because we were just trying really hard to execute the technique properly. And trying to remember what the instructor's saying. But for me, I think one of the hardest things is actually timing the surf, timing doing the technique so that you can ride the wave. I think that's the very difficult part. I still don't quite understand how you time it.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
there's so much skill that you need to have.
I just got lucky like a couple of times, I think, and you had a really good one.
Yeah,
as well,
I had a few good ones as
Yeah.
well. Yeah. But after that, we just had a meal, a few pints, and we are so ready to sleep.
Yeah. All right, so
See you tomorrow.
we'll end the day and see you tomorrow. Ciao. We're finishing the day off with some espresso martinis.
Do I eat these beans?
You're asking me if you're actually going to eat coffee beans.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. You don't eat coffee beans.
I don't? No.
Today we're going scuba diving, so we went to Dive Newquay to learn how. Training's done, now we're off to the sea. That's good.
We are going to try and go there. We've just finished scuba diving. That's where we sort of set off. That rocky bit. I don't know if you can see that. And as you can see, the weather has taken a turn for the worse. So it's scuba gear off, coats on. We went back into town just to get something to eat because we were super hungry after scuba diving. What did you think of it?
Yeah, it was an amazing experience, and you get to see all the seaweed and fish underneath the water. And yeah, it is definitely a skill to have and develop because it's very hard. And we did it with our instructor, didn't we? So that helped a lot.
Yeah, a lot of technique that goes into scuba diving. But we had great instructors. So if you do want to dive in Newquay, try Dive Newquay. I'll leave a link in the description below and you can try that out. That is Fistral Beach, where we went surfing, and it's the most famous beach for surfing here in the UK. As you can see, even though the waves are great for surfing, the weather isn't ideal. So Cornwall, apart from seaside resorts is famous, or was famous, for piracy. You know, the good old pirate accents, very similar to the Cornish accent, and also smuggling. It's in little caves and coves like you have here, where smugglers used to do their business. And the reason why smuggling became very popular in Cornwall is because before this was a fishing village, because Britain was fighting a war in the Americas, the American Revolutionary War, and those wars against France. Britain needed a lot of funds to keep fighting those wars, and so they raised taxes. There was no income tax during that time, so most of it was kind of commodity tax. Something similar probably to our current value-added tax. And one of the things that they taxed was salt. And if you're a fisherman, you're preparing fish to sell, you're going to have to salt your fish. And you'll need the good stuff that you get from Spain. The regular fishermen, they were not able to afford buying salt with those high taxes. So a lot of the people in Cornwall decided to turn to a life of smuggling. They would meet other boats, mostly in the English Channel, coming from France, and they would trade goods like rum and salt that they would smuggle into the country. Very early form of tax dodging. When you look at the English language, actually, you have a lot of words that came from Cornwall's smuggling culture. Words like bootleg refers to those big wide boots that they used to wear, where you could stuff things that you would smuggle in. Or phrases like the coast is clear. The coast is clear was a signal for smugglers to land their boat, and there are no guards knocking about the coast. Up here are absolutely majestic, magical, ethereal. It doesn't look real. It all seems like a dream. Rock formations down there, and the waves absolutely battering it, crashing into it.
This is Newquay! Adventure.
There are some people doing coasteering, fighting against the elements of nature, the wind and the waves and the wet.
On our way back into town, we saw more people coasteering. This must be a sign.
So, how are you going to get down now?
I don't know.
Alright then. I'll see you tomorrow. So we found this place right next to Newquay called Senor Dick's. Try not to laugh while saying it. We were expecting this highly appropriated Mexican cuisine, but actually the food is really, really good.
Remember those crazy guys we saw jumping off cliffs?
Morning guys, today we are going coasteering.
And as you can see, it's not the best weather for coasteering today.
The conditions may not be ideal, but we're still going to do it. So we headed to the Newquay Water Sports Centre.
This is where we start.
Thank Thor, the sun finally came out. That's Morgan, our instructor. He probably is the most chilled out person in Britain. Time to jump into the freezing water. I can still feel the chill of the Atlantic waters. This was the first cliff jump of the day. A modest jump to start with. Now the jumps are getting slightly higher. Coasteering is not just about cliff jumps. You'll need to learn how to climb and traverse the rough and ragged coastline.
You got this, you got this.
The nerves have got to Julia.
Go on.
But she conquered her fears.
Alright.
And now it's my turn.
Come on up. You gotta do this to get to the cave, right?
Yeah, that's
All
it. We can't go lower, but
Nah, screw this.
I'm
Let's
sure
do
you
it.
got it.
Ready?
Ready? 3, 2, 1.
A round of applause.
Into the cave, baby.
Caving
Whoa.
might just be my favorite part of coasteering. It's very difficult to access these areas without actually going coasteering. Now the jumps are getting even higher. Knees shaking, hands trembling.
Yeah. Just start.
She hesitates.
Silencio Bruno. Come on.
Julia feels the fear again.
A few moments later. Thousands of tears later.
It's a steep fall, the highest jump we faced today.
1.
The jump was so exhilarating that we had to do it again. But first,
Ready? 3, 2, 1. You got this. Woo!
So we just finished coasteering and
It was amazing.
it's the highlight of the trip so far, seriously.
Yeah.
If you want a proper adventure, go coasteering. Coasteering or coastering? I'm not sure. It's a mixture of everything. Climbing, cliffs, caving, jumping off cliffs, diving, swimming. It's the whole package, really. And we enjoyed it so much that actually we booked it again for tomorrow. So tomorrow we're going coasteering again.
That's honestly, if only we had, if only we knew about this before, we probably would have booked ourselves in for every day. And you know, at first we were scared of the weather, but it's almost that weather in Cornwall changes all the time.
Yeah.
And look at this. You know, at the beginning of this video, you saw the weather was awful, and it's hot actually at the moment.
As they say in Cornwall, if you want to know what the weather's like, check back in an hour later.
That's it, yeah. So. Morning guys, another day, another coasteering.
We once again start off in Newquay Harbour for another day of coasteering. And as you can see, the weather is less than ideal. We're taking a slightly different route from yesterday, and we're jumping straight into the water. Straight away, we headed for the cave. But this particular cave had a whirlpool inside. It's a strange yet liberating feeling having zero control over your body. You're fully at the mercy of the waves. The waves were a lot more tempestuous on this day, and it was a lot more difficult to get onto the rocks. Coasteering is more than just a physical adventure. With the right instructor, it can also be an opportunity to learn about the area's geography, its geological features, and its local flora and fauna.
What do you reckon it tastes like?
Some sort of herb?
Yeah. And slightly salty, but that might just be because you got salt. It looks like concrete, but it's actually naturally made.
Show the technique, go on. Yep. Yes. That's it.
3, 2, 1, go. 2, 1, go.
The jumps are only getting higher, and Julia has to face her fears again.
Big step out.
3, 2, 1, go.
On the edge.
Set.
Cool.
1, go.
Julia was very anxious about the highest jump.
Ooh.
Did you hear that collective ooh? Let's check the tape. As you can see here, Julia's technique was all wrong and she was leaning slightly forward.
Elena, you okay?
No, she was not okay. In fact, this jump gave Julia a concussion.
Okay, ready?
Ready.
3, 2, 1, go.
We're here at Newquay Harbour. We just finished our second session of...
I swear Julia was the one who was concussed.
What did we do? Coasteering. Yeah. Our second session of coasteering. And it was just as exhilarating as the first. Similar route, but different. We did a few things differently, some caves and stuff. Julia had to face some of her fears today, didn't you?
Yeah, it was, believe it or not, it was harder the next day, today, the second day, because I sort of knew what to expect. Unlike the first day, I didn't know what's about to happen, so I would just jump and that's it. And now I knew how scary it is, and I was freaking out, but I did it.
She did the jumps that she was afraid of from yesterday.
Yeah.
And still did it. You
still
pushed
did it.
past the fear, the barrier of fear.
The company that we did this again, it's the same company like yesterday. They are brilliant, really. So
Yeah.
we are very grateful.
Great instructors, everything. Yeah. We'll leave a link in the description below, so you can check them out when you're in Newquay, and we do suggest that you go coasteering. It's a sport that we've never heard of before. It started in Wales apparently, so thank you Wales. It looks like we found a new sport, we found a new hobby that we're planning to do in other parts of the UK and other parts of the world.
We seriously had no idea that Julia was concussed at this point. Julia and I went to Truro Hospital where she was treated very well by the medical staff.
Approximately 10 hours later.
So we found this place called the Boathouse, close to the harbour, and I'm having venison burger with wild boar on it. And Yulia's fine now, she's having a curry. She's all good now. Less concussed than a while ago. And whilst you're having dinner, look at that view down the harbour. It's really nice.
So, how is your burger?
Oh, it's like the best thing I've eaten all holiday. Seriously, the venison burger has venison and wild boar on it, and the flavour is so intense. It's seriously, it's a piece of art. It's worth doing. Cornish Venison is the company that does it, and apparently it's like really fresh game, so freshly hunted game. And that gives it that really fresh, intense flavour. And eating it out here, what more can you ask for?
Classic British weather decided to greet us on our last day in Newquay. But we're not going home without souvenirs. So, that's it for us from Newquay. How did you feel about the trip?
It was amazing. It was one of the most adventurous trips of my life.
What's the highlight for you?
Coasteering.
Oh, same here. Coasteering. Yeah. I thought scuba diving would be the one, but I think coasteering.
I thought surfing would be the one. Look at the sea today.
Oh man.
Can you believe that on our first day, somewhere close to those rocks, we were able to walk and just eat pasties, and there was no water at all this morning. The waves are crazy.
If you live in the UK, you know, you almost never go on holiday in the UK. You know, you go to Spain or France or the Caribbean or whatever. And we're going to say actually that holidaying in Britain is so underrated until the weather today, which shows you why people go away, which just shows you why people go to Spain. It's guaranteed sunshine is what it is, and the waves probably aren't this large or violent. If you like this video, please hit the like button, leave a comment, share the video, and subscribe to our channel. And check out all our other videos on the Beige Voyage YouTube channel. See you next time. Ciao.
Take care.
We were not going to leave without a Cornish pasty, so we went to Rose Cornish Bakers, the most recent winners of the World Pasty Championship, and they've won it 2 years in a row.